Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hello to everyone joining us via live stream on YouTube and on Facebook. Hey, we're right side up. We're so glad that so many of you are joining us virtually on this Shabbat after a long week of struggle and anxiety and dealing with this new reality. Join us for some music and some calm on this Shabbat, where we can join together in worship and soothe our souls and take a little slice of the divine and the world to come. We hope that you will sing with us if you like, otherwise listen and be at peace. And we hope that all of you are healthy, that this will hopefully break some of the isolation and the loneliness. And above all, we wish you a Shabbat of peace, a Shabbat Shalom. God has brought the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity uttered it. Well, friends, it is awfully lonely here in our sanctuary, but I know that many of you are with us. And as we light our candles and bring light into this sanctuary and into this world, we hope that at home you are doing the same. You are lighting your candles and can join with us in this music and prayer. We are reminded to shamor v'zachor, to guard and to remember our Sabbath. As we do so, we light our candles and bring light to the world during these dark times. With all of your candles lit, we sing together that blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlikneh shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. With the light behind us now, we can continue. We welcome into our midst this evening the Shabbat bride, the words of Lecha Dodi. I will welcome Shabbat into our midst here, into this sanctuary, and I hope that in your own homes you will welcome the Shabbat bride with these words of Lecha Dodi. We sing together and welcome Shabbat into our midst. Welcome the Shabbat bride into our midst together. Go Shabbat, Ateret Allah, Kabesimcha, Tevodah, Tokemuleh, Kasemunah, Moich Allah, Moich Allah, So for those of you who are on Facebook Live right now, you should be able to see the messages that people are writing. You can do the same on YouTube. There's a way that you can do that as well. So if you haven't already, please feel free to wish Shabbat Shalom to those who are watching so that you can connect with one another and know that everyone there is watching. So how about just take a moment and have all of us who are joining virtually wish each other a Shabbat Shalom so that we know who's there and is with us and know that we are not alone tonight in our worship. Go ahead and do that. Take a moment and do that. I know that some have already done it already when they came on, so thank you for that. But it's so important to remember that we are not isolated, that all of us are here in Shabbat Shalom. So I see Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Good. Wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom. That's right. You can do the same here on YouTube as well. There's a live chat option if this is the way that you're watching. Obviously, Facebook is a little bit easier. There we go. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. So yeah, make sure that everyone knows that you're there. We're all in the same boat together. We may feel like we're alone and isolated, but we're not. We're all joining each other together. So wonderful. So as we continue, we ask ourselves if we are ready to pray this evening. I thought I'd go a little bit old school back to the Noah Aronson arrangement of the Barfu. Since we're not all together and bowing and all that stuff, instead, let's ask ourselves if we are ready to pray together. Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I weak? Are you listening to my prayer? And you hear my voice? And you understand? Am I awake? Am I dreaming? So often we have to remind ourselves that while we are in this new situation, we still want to get into that zone of prayer. Usually it's easy for us to do so sitting in the sanctuary. It's a little bit harder at home. And so these prayers, which lead us through the rubric of services, are really meant to touch our souls and be able to speak to those needs that we have. So as we listen to this music and sing these prayers together, let's try to get into that zone of prayer as best we can, minding out the distractions that we have. As darkness falls onto our world, as Shabbat begins, we remember the words of Ma'ariv Aravim, God is the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. Roll into light, night becomes day. day turns to night, moving to dawn, moving to night, night becomes day, day turns to night, radio, Malala, So I've seen actually a really cool feature that's happening on again on the Facebook Messenger, and you can see that when someone likes the video, this little like thing floats up. And so while that's really nice, I think we might want to try to use that to know when people are feeling the prayers, feeling the connections, that sort of thing. So if it's your favorite tune, or if it's something that is meaningful to you, push that like button or that love button, whatever, so that you can show others that you are feeling the service with you. On YouTube, I think you can just write something or whatever, but I think it's a great idea to show that people are feeling these sorts of things. Some people have favorite melodies. Some people need to hear a certain prayer tonight. So don't be afraid to hit that like button or love button to show people how you're feeling during this service. Again, it gives us a little bit of that connectivity. So it's not just a one-sided service tonight. So let's move to the words of Shema, the watchword of our faith, our declaration of monotheism. We join together in these words together as Jews all around the world join together wherever we are for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. all your mind. Shall teach your children to hope, love and to know what is right. As we move to the words of Michamocha, many of us can feel as we are standing on the parted shores, unsure of where we are going, looking towards the future, but also looking at the past. We know that soon we will be free of this pandemic, and we will cross that river together. But the only way to do so, as our tradition teaches, is by holding hands and moving together. Not literally holding hands, obviously, not right now, but metaphorically, working together to make sure that all of us can cross that river, cross those seas together, that sea of reed. So as we sing Michamocha tonight, we not only remember when Jews went from slavery to freedom, but we look towards our own freedom of better days where people are well and healthy. You know, it occurred to me while I was playing and looking at our live stream that's dark back there. I think maybe we can light things up a little bit. Here's some. Here we go. Wasn't on the beam. I wasn't thinking about those lights. But look at that right behind us now. All right. Better, right? There we go. There's that big, beautiful menorah showing about Temple Israel. And you can see our everlasting light, and the Torah is behind us. So really beautiful. So we move forward to the prayer of Hashtivenu, and this one I think is really important tonight. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace rise up to life renewed. Well, I can't think of a better prayer for us tonight, to hope that all across the world can go to sleep tonight in peace, in health, and wake up feeling better. And that all of us can wake up tomorrow feeling renewed and better on this Shabbat. And we pray that God will create that Sukkot Shalom over us as we are feeling separated, that each of us carries with us that Sukkot Shalom, that shelter of peace. So we pray not only for we together in Temple Israel, but all across the world, all who are in need of shelter, not only from this pandemic, but from all the issues in the world that don't stop because of the pandemic. So we pray together for God that we can tomorrow rise up and feel renewed, all of us. Ashkevenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake to morning's light. Teach us to be wrong from right. Oh, Adonai, Amen, 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 Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Borei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, and over Jerusalem, and over all of humanity. We come together to the heart of our service, the words of tefillah. We ask God during this difficult time to open up our lips that our mouths may declare praise to God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mehila Lifnei Bneihem Leman Shemo V'Yahva, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magin Adonai, Magin Avraham Bezrat Sarah. We prayed for, gave blessing for our ancestors that came before us, and now we give thought and prayer and blessing to God's strength. Atagi boy leolam Adonai, bechayei hakol atarav lefoshia, ashtiv haruach umorid hakashem, v'chaken chayim v'chesed, bechayei hakol v'rachim zolnei v'rofim v'rofim, u'matir roshavim, u'mekayim We give blessing to God's holiness. Kadosh, Shema Kadosh, Doshim Bechol Yom Halalu Chaseda, Ata Adonai, Ha'el Adonai. If there is one thing that we are praying for, not just all our nights, but certainly during this time, it is peace. Right now, so many need peace, all kinds of peace, not just peace from war, which we need, but peace from fear, peace from isolation, peace from the unknown. So many of us are struggling with new challenges, and we hope that tonight, this Shabbat, brings us peace. We not only ask for shalom, but shalom rav, abundant peace from God to our people and to the whole world, the sovereign God of all peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. Ki atah melech hador, le'kol ha'shalom. Ki atah melech hador, le'kol ha'shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. V'tov peinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, lekolecha lekom sha'am v'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Nasim Le'olam. Nasim Le'olam. Nasim See, there's a lot of likes and loves flying up. A lot of people are feeling that prayer, feeling the need for peace. So know that we are with you and we are praying for peace for you and with you this evening. So as we do each Friday night, we take a moment to think of those in our community and in our lives who are in need of some healing. I think over the last few weeks that idea has taken a new form. So many of us are concerned about our physical health, and we know those who are suffering from issues with physical health. But we should also remember the emotional strain and mental strain that quarantine and staying at home and not being with family, not being able to work in normal circumstances can do. And certainly challenging times like this give us need for spiritual healing. All of that is perfectly normal, and we should acknowledge it, that it's a part of our lives right now, that we hope that we are staying healthy physically, but also making sure that we are taking care of ourselves from a mental health point of view, emotional health and spiritual health. It's my hope that services like tonight and other programs will help with the latter of some spiritual health and emotional health, certainly. But we know that there are those in our community who are in need of healing, and so we think of them now. We think tonight of Jason Beckner, Sonia Garfinkel, Eileen Goss, Barry Herschel, Brett Olson, Harriet Morrison, Michael Mund, Sandy Perlman, and Sharon Tullis. If you'd like to add a name, please feel free, if you're comfortable doing so, to type it in on Facebook or on live chat for YouTube. If you don't feel comfortable typing or sharing, that's perfectly fine. You can say it to yourself or in your heart or just think it. But if you'd like to share a name, please feel free to do so now. Thank you, Diane. Leonore, thank you. Ivy, thank you. Feel free to continue to name those names as we say these words sing these words rather of Misha Baroff. And know that all of your names that you are giving and sharing with us are with us in our hearts. We thank you for sharing that vulnerability of those you know who are in need of that prayer. And together, virtually, we will pray for their health. And hopefully they will wake up tomorrow renewed, feeling better. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. Let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. let us say, Amen. Thank you to those who have shared some names with us. Remind ourselves that not only do we pray to God for healing, but know that there is so much that we can do to reach out and heal others. So send cards and make phone calls. Let people know that they are not alone. Well, friends, Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to see all of you joining us. So last week, I spoke to you all about how we will get through this new reality, how we will adapt to new challenges. And I wanted on my first sermon via live stream to help us all find comfort and peace in this new form of community we find ourselves in. You may not know, but last week was also National Refugee Shabbat. It's a project of the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. We at Temple Israel have frequently spoken highly of HIAS, the Jewish American nonprofit organization that provides humanitarian aid and assistance to refugees. National Refugee Shabbat has, since its inception, been a moment for congregations, organizations, and individuals around the country to dedicate a Shabbat experience to refugees and asylum seekers. And in times such as these, I wouldn't blame us if we turned inward. If in our new isolation, we let our focus drift to our own immediate needs. On the other hand, it can be an incredible opportunity to actually see connection, commonality, where perhaps it was intangible before. As HIAS President Mark Hetfield explained, the coronavirus outbreak is scary and disruptive. Yet even as we make adjustments to our lives and how we gather in community, the world's refugees and asylum seekers still deserve our support. In this time when we are reminded just how interconnected and interdependent we all are, we will continue to show solidarity for refugees and asylum seekers worldwide. So tonight, in honor of last week's National Refugee Shabbat, I wanted us to pause for a moment and give thought to refugees, as the challenges and problems in the world do not stop because of a pandemic like the coronavirus. Indeed, they only become more complicated. And I want us to think about what our own current existence can teach us about the life of a refugee. As of this month, more than 70 million people globally have been forced to flee their homes and home countries due to persecution, conflict, violence, human rights violations. As the Norwegian Refugee Council reports, 84% of those refugees are being hosted by low or middle income nations which have weaker health, water, and sanitation systems. Now take a moment to think about how your life has been disrupted over the last few weeks. Maybe you couldn't find some items you were hoping for in the grocery store. Maybe your favorite bars or restaurants have closed. Maybe you've lost income because your work was shut down or you've been forced to work remotely. Maybe you have childcare needs that didn't exist before the schools closed. Not being able to celebrate holidays and get-togethers, plans canceled, trips postponed, those are your life disruptions. But perhaps there's also fear and uncertainty lingering in your heart. There's the risk of contracting the virus, the concern for your health and that of your family or friends. There's a feeling of helplessness and that you cannot control who goes out into public and what they bring back with them. And that there's not a cure. And that there are so many unknowns about the virus itself that medical experts are still learning about early symptoms and complications. There's the isolation. those who are intensely lonely, trapped in their homes, some only able to interact with one another via phone or video, being far away from loved ones. Well, it goes without saying that most Americans, even in these difficult times, are still far better off than the average refugee. Certainly, for the first time in my lifetime, we are seeing a situation where we can and should be able, at least on some level, to empathize with the trials, fears, and unknowns that refugees endure each and every day. The parallels don't stop there. As Hayes explains, one of the great challenges when handling a refugee influx is, quote, balancing domestic concerns about security and cultural change. While we too are learning how to balance our own security and cultural change through this pandemic, while attempting to handle overcrowded hospitals, overworked medical professionals, and seemingly endless stream of new and changing information. Our lives have been uprooted, disrupted. We're trying to balance our needs with the new routines and new restrictions, trying to balance work and financial concerns with health and safety. There's also the challenge of creating and enacting a cohesive and informed government response. We have seen over the past decade, and frankly, much longer, the American response to refugees, particularly across our southern border, change again. Most recently, Hayes reports that people seeking asylum in the US are less likely to have legal representation, even though they should. And Hayes also explains, we were told that medical exemptions would help those sick asylum seekers forced to stay in Mexico, but they haven't. Well, we too are seeing the limits and failures of our government during this pandemic. We've been overpromised on the availability of tests. We've been given wrong information about the spread of the disease and how serious it is. We've been given conflicting information on the distribution and availability of ventilators, and we've seen slow partisan progress on providing financial help to Americans who are out of work. In these times, friends, we can feel the frustration and pain refugees feel when they've been told one thing and then another. We can feel the powerlessness in the face of changing circumstances and understandably overwhelmed government officials. And finally, for many of us, we are learning what it means to be separated from family members indefinitely. Refugees around the world are often separated from those most dear to them, either through policy or circumstance. We too now feel that pain, whether it be our grandparents who should not leave their homes and who are put at risk by being around their grandchildren, or a mother or father forced to self-quarantine in the hopes to keep their family healthy. Many Americans are learning for the first time what it means to have a seemingly immovable barrier placed between them and those they love. Of course, despite these similarities, we must remember that the plight of the average American is still so much better than that of the average refugee. While we don't know when this pandemic will end, or just how bad a scar it will leave on the economy, on workers, on families, we know that it will end. We know that at some point, our lives will resume some sense of normalcy. And that, my dear friends, is a comfort that refugees do not have. We may not know if a vaccine is 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months away, but we know that it's coming. We may not know if our government will send 1 relief check, or 2, or 3, but we know financial relief is coming. We may not know if Payless will have milk, or chicken, or produce in one shopping trip, but we know the food will keep coming. And while these may seem like small comforts in the face of uncertainties we are facing, note that they are significant when compared to what refugee brothers and sisters face. In thinking about National Refugee Shabbat tonight, then there are several things to take away. First, it's my hope that all of us realize that in the wake of this pandemic, we are better primed to understand the refugee plight than perhaps ever before. We're trapped in different places, in a different kind of limbo, imprisoned by circumstances outside our control, helpless in the face of an unknown future, fearful of where it will go and how we will live on. Secondly, we must recognize that as much as we can now relate to the refugee crisis, we are still ever so far removed from it. We have been given but a taste of what the refugee life is. From that, we should all realize not only how much we have to be thankful for, but also how much we should seek to give. This Shabbat, let's dig deep. Let us do the introspection necessary to, if only for a moment, set aside fear and uncertainty in the name of gratitude and compassion. Let's focus not on what we don't have or can no longer do, and instead focus on comparatively how much remains in our control, in our power. Because the truth is that the world's crisis and crises do not end in the face of a pandemic. While they may leave our field of vision while we look inward, when we are ready to look up and out, they will be waiting for us. We're all struggling now. At best, we're struggling to understand this new normal that we're living in. At worst, for food on our tables or for our very health. My prayer today and every day is that as a community, we support you through your struggles. We lift you up so that you can see beyond the tides of uncertainty. And then when that happens, my prayer is that we will face the world's challenges through the insight from our own. That we will show more compassion, more understanding, and more care wherever it is most needed. Friends, be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. These are uncertain times, but we will get through them. And when we do, the world will be waiting for us. So let's prepare now so that we can be ready for it. Shabbat Shalom. Moments, if you will, of silent prayer, reflection, or meditation. We'll come back together. Reiki, and your need if I never I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Begawani, Begawani. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. We come to the concluding aspects of our service. We turn now to the words of Alin. Let us praise now the sovereign of the universe who proclaims the greatness of the Creator, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Therefore we bow in awe and thanksgiving before the one who is sovereign over all, holy and blessed one. We say at the end, V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Thus it has been said, Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, Adonai will be one, and God's name shall be one. Friends, this week, like any week, there are those in our midst who are grieving, those who have lost loved ones in recent days or in years past at this season. And while we cannot be together in a minyan to show comfort to those, as we say Kaddish, know that we are together with you as we do so virtually. We are honoring the memory tonight of Deborah Lou Wallach of Shloshim, and those yard sites, Doris Silver, Josephine Gimbel, Shirley Cherniak, Julius Oppenheimer, Eugene Weishaus, Edward W. Perlman, Rabbi Irving Weingart, Elizabeth Whitehouse, and Amy Davidson. To those names, we add any other names of those who have passed away in recent days or in years past at this season. Please feel free, if comfortable, to type in a name via Facebook or via YouTube, or say a name in your heart. Please feel free also to say a name, one that I've already said, so we know who is grieving, and so we can acknowledge those losses. Please feel free to take a moment and say a name. Keep all of those names in our hearts. We think, of course, of all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We think of the 6 million who died in the Shoah and those who died defending this country in the state of Israel. And of course, we give thought to those we have lost from the coronavirus in our community and elsewhere, in Indiana and across the world. Friends, we say these words of Kaddish to bring comfort to one another, but also honor to those who are no longer with us. These holy words, these ancient words, may they bring you comfort tonight, and know that you are not alone in your grieving, until we are all together and stand with you. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayichon u'vyomechon, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמי. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who brings peace to the high places bring peace over all who are grieving and all of humanity, as we say together, Amen. Well, friends, we appreciate you joining us tonight for Shabbat services. I wanted to end tonight with a few announcements. Hopefully they will be a little less depressing than Saturday morning's announcements where we just said that everything was canceled. But hopefully you can join us virtually for some of these new things that are happening. So we will continue with live stream services. On April 3rd, it will be a live stream service, but also we will have learners meeting that night. So come and join us at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30. And that week, I thought, since we're all at home anyway, that I would teach a little bit about some home rituals, including history and rituals of Kiddush, of the blessing over the wine that we do. So you can learn a little bit while you do Shabbat at home. So come at 7 o'clock virtually, log in on April 3rd, and then stay, if you wish, for Kabbalat Shabbat, which will occur just like this one. We are still doing our toiletry drive to benefit the YWCA, the Shelter for Victims of Domestic Violence. Remember, friends, that just because the pandemic happens does not mean that the world stops and the needs of others stop. Quite the contrary, things are happening all over the world and in our community. So please feel free that when you are going on that grocery store run to pick up deodorant, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, lotion, anything like that, stop by and get buzzed in. You can put it right in the front of our building, and then out you go. Scrub, scrub. You don't have to interact with anybody, but please think about doing that and helping those who are in need. Because of the stay-at-home policy that the governor has ordered, besides those moments when we are here during office hours, we're basically closing the building down. Okay, so Kim will actually be working from home. I'll still be working from here by myself, so I'm here to buzz you in. But if you need to reach us, send an email, not a phone call. I mean, you can call me if I'm here, but if you need to talk to Kim, email her. Also, those who have access to the building, keys and alarm code, we really want to ask you to just not come in if possible, so that we can track and make sure that we know who's coming in, who's not coming in, because we want to make it clean and sanitized. So do your best to just reach out to us electronically if you can. You're going to see in next week's Thursday reminder, and I think you did this past one, something that we're starting, which is called Voices from Quarantine. Many of our members are staying at home or practicing social distance. Some of us can feel isolated. So we're inviting you, our members, to send us sort of check-ins or some writings that you'd like to share. Completely optional, of course, if you'd like, but they will be published in Thursday reminders, so that maybe you can see what's going on. Maybe you can share about things that are happening that you'd like to connect with the community, the Temple Israel community. So send it in to Kim at Temple Israel at templeisraelwlaf.org, and it'll be in the next Thursday reminder. So again, totally optional, but just so that people can check in and make sure that we can interact. So our Passover Seder. Because we cannot have a Passover Seder in person, I will be leading a virtual Passover Seder on Wednesday, April 8th at 6 p.m. via live stream. It will be on the same channels here as we are doing Shabbat. So you can hopefully enjoy your own Seder and have me in the background. or not having it all, that's totally fine. I won't know and I won't be insulted. So, or if you'd like to participate with me leading the Seder for you, please feel free to do so. But I'll be leading out of our Haggadah, sharing the journey, and hopefully providing some of that Passover ritual for you. And just so that you know, I've spoken with and worked with Philip Schlossberg over at Hillel, spoken to Payless and a couple other places to make sure that Passover stuff is really stocked this year, because we don't want to travel to Indianapolis or Chicago to get some of the things that we need to. So please get the things that you need and hopefully have a safe Seder. So if you've been a part of our adult education courses recently, we've been watching Twilight Zone episodes and Finding Holiness in the Twilight Zone. So obviously we can't continue that. We can't show a Twilight Zone episode via live stream. There's copyright issues, and not everybody would have access to watch that Twilight Zone episode. So we're going to postpone the rest of that. But I thought that it'd be fun every once in a while to pop in on live stream and teach a lesson here and there. So you're going to see some announcements over the next few weeks of some things that maybe I can teach that would not violate any copyright laws and anybody can and enjoy. So keep an eye out for those. I look forward to continue teaching, and I do miss our classes and I do miss the ability to teach. So keep a look at that. Okay, here comes the depressing part. The schedule of events and changes. Kabbalat Shabbat, as we said, April 3rd, 7 o'clock for learners meeting and 7:30. Paul meetings have been postponed. Fill-in Tuesdays, which we were going to start, bummer, we're going to postpone those. The community Seder is now going to be a virtual Seder, and the Holocaust Remembrance has been postponed to the fall. But please keep an eye on the things that we're doing virtually. You can still see what we're doing, still be a part of this community. So friends, with that, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy your Kiddush, enjoy your Challah, enjoy a Shabbat of rest. Stay healthy, stay safe, and Shabbat Shalom. Good night, everyone.